Hey, all right. Welcome to a bonus episode of the Sound Good podcast. I'm Michael, as usual, and
I'm really
with me
creamy.
is really creamy, our lovely co-host who has no real name anymore. It's just
Finally,
just
I can
an enigma.
abandon that failed life.
I can abandon my husk of a corpse.
I can start anew.
But yeah, this is our 2018 album of the year list
I'm
bonus
Micah.
Episode.
Hi.
That's Micah. That's Micah. That's Micah. That's Micah.
This is our 2018 list.
Stop repeating everything I just said. The joke is
What?
old.
I know. I'm just.
Yeah, we're gonna take this episode. We're gonna be a little less. I don't know. Are we serious on the normal
A little
episodes?
loosey goosey. It's gonna be even worse.
It's gonna be even
Basically.
worse on this episode because what structure? What structure, dude? It's just a bonus episode. We're
Hey.
just telling you about some albums.
Hey, our lists are in order. There's a structure there.
Yeah, you're right. Okay.
We're gonna channel our list back and forth.
Stop. Oh my god, dude.
There's a structure. We have a
No,
format.
see, now what we have to do is we have to put this episode out before we put out the actual episode on Sunday.
Maybe.
So then that joke is like lost.
Oh. I mean, we can put them out at the same time. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah,
It's a
we'll do
bonus.
whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever. Yeah, who knows? You might be listening to this on Sunday. You might be listening to this on the week after Sunday. Who knows?
And if it's your birthday on that day, happy birthday.
Happy birthday. All right, so that's enough screwing around. What we got for you today, we got for you on this bonus episode is we got our list of 10. We're going to start at 10 and work our way up the list, each taking turns, giving our respective numbers and saying why, and occasionally defending said positions. But before we get into the lists, we're going to start off with our honorable mentions. Now, these albums are not necessarily, they're not bad albums because they didn't make the top 10. They just didn't make didn't make the top 10.
It's
so they're
still,
good. They're still worth a mention.
Yeah, they were still in
Just-
our pool of I want to consider these. So I mean, hey,
Contenders. They were definitely contenders for sure.
yeah. It's just you and your social construct saying it has to be 10.
It's all your fault.
God, whoever you are, happy birthday, I guess. Hope you're proud of yourself. I hope you gain
it's all
wisdom
your
through
fault.
your age.
It's all your fault, birthday person.
Change.
So how do we want to do the honorable mentions, Micah? Do you want to take turns on those, or you just want to kind of spooge them all at once?
We can spooge them all.
spooge them all. Okay, so who wants to go first? You
I'll
or
go
me?
first.
You go first? All right,
Yeah.
Mike is going to go first. Have at it, buddy.
All right, so the first one that was immediate that I was like, that has to be an honorable mention was Home by Church Girls. That, I guess that's technically an EP, but it's, dude, it's really good. You have to
We're going
check
to
it out.
count EPs for the
Yeah.
honorable mentions.
They're going to
Just
put
'cause
out,
they couldn't make it there.
they're going to put out a new album that has really similar art called, oh no, what's their Cycles? Yeah,
Cycles.
Yeah. So just put them together maybe and just say it's a whole album then if you have that issue. But yeah, no, it's
For the record, just so people are aware of the rules and why we mentioned that an EP is not on our albums of the year. We're keeping our album of the year list specifically to LPs, meaning that it was either 8 songs or more, because that's a standard definition of an LP, or the record was released as an LP. And I say that specifically because there's a record on my list that is less than 8, but they say they released it as a full album. So
yeah, and
that will.
it's only relevant for one of them. The double albums are one album.
Yeah, we're counting double albums. We're counting double albums as one album if we felt they couldn't hold their own weight separately.
If you know the show, you know what that album is.
Yeah. Maybe, dude. I don't know.
We'll reset that counter eventually.
You'll see. Maybe. Who knows?
So yeah, I liked.
I
Home.
haven't confirmed or denied it.
I deny
Anyway,
all
sorry, go
knowledge. Yeah, Home by Church Girls. Check it out. It's great. Beautiful, fantastic, impressive debut. And
Check
then,
out our episode on that.
Yep. And then I really wanted to draw attention to The Vacancy by 4 Seconds Ago, which is the side project that's all completely ambient electronic of Jake Bowen and Misha Mansour of Periphery.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's that Periphery. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was cool. Yeah.
It's so chill and amazing. There's one track that has some light vocals on it, but for the most part it's instrumental, and that's the reason we didn't talk about it. but it's
Cool.
really, it's great. Then I thought I'd throw it in there. I really enjoyed The American Dream by Trophy Eyes.
Yeah,
I
that's
liked
fair.
it. We talked about it. It was really good, just like pop punk.
Yeah, I saw that on a lot of people's album of the year lists.
Really, I just threw it in
Surprisingly.
there haphazardly as I was.
Well, I mean, like, I'm in like a Midwest emo group and a hot mulligan group, so
True.
I'm gonna see it one way or another, and it's gonna find me and it's gonna get me.
Yeah. And my last one.
I regret that reference. Sorry.
We'll just move past it. My last one
Yep.
is Hypnic Jerks by Spirit of the Beehive, just because it was really different and interesting, and I
Ooh,
liked
really?
it. Yeah,
Cool.
it was definitely a contender to make it into the list, but it didn't.
Just
Mostly
barely.
for my own subjective reasons. Yeah.
Cool.
So, what are yours?
I actually have 4 honorable mentions, and well, only 3 of them are like actual honorable mentions. Okay, so the first one is going to be Actor Observer, their album that came out earlier this year in July, I believe, called Pareidolia.
Ooh, I love
Came
that
out
word,
on
dude.
it's that condition where you like see patterns in things that don't have patterns.
Is it?
Yes, it is. Pareidolia is like when you look at like tree
Yes, it is.
branches and you
Okay.
think you see words.
Okay. Yeah,
Or like if you hear words in static and stuff like that.
yeah, I know that word because it's a name of one of the, like from Call of Duty Black Ops 1. It's one of the Easter egg songs. It's a dope song. It's like really hardcore, like thrash metal, like kind of death metal, and Kevin Sherwood's a great composer. But continue.
Yeah, so that came out on No Sleep Records. Really good, like high energy album with like a lot of emotional ups and downs in the lyrics and all that stuff. I was really privy to tracks Low and Beholden off of that album, and Pendulum Days, probably 2 of my favorite tracks. It's a very like standard hardcore sounding album. There's some sung vocals, but it's mostly screamed. Like I said, very high energy album. Go check it out. It's on No Sleep Records.
Dope.
My next one was Royal Coda's self-titled LP, which came out in March of 2018. I can't say this year anymore. That came out on Blue Swan Records.
You don't have to.
Oh God, I don't even remember what I just said.
We're past the
That's
year.
bad.
It was out on Blue Swan Records.
Yeah, right. It came out on Blue Swan Records. Wow, informal. The only reason this is staying
Gluttony?
out of my stop it. There's the reference reset right there.
Oh, it was. Damn it. Too soon.
Too soon. But yeah, the reason this album was kept out of my album of the year list is because the digital release has really bad mixing. So it kind of sucks listening to it digitally, but I will say, well, because the album's still good. Like the mixing sucked, but the songs were still really
I
solid.
thought the statement was just going to
still-
stay there, where it was like the album just sucked.
No. The songwriting in the album and the performances didn't suck. It just the mixing was kind of weird on the digital version. But I picked up the vinyl of it, and it actually, like, for some reason the vinyl actually seems to have a better mixing on it.
Okay.
So after listening to it on vinyl, I was able to like fully appreciate the music and fully get a sound for the music. And I do think that if it weren't for the kind of botched digital release, it would have been either like number 9 or 10 on my album of the year list then.
Nice. Okay. Well, that's unfortunate.
yeah, that's,
but you know what? That's what happens.
Yeah, really good record, really good breakout debut record from the new post-hardcore side project thing. I don't know if it's a side project; it's a main project now from Kurt Travis and Sergio Medina.
Ooh, no wonder you like it.
Yeah, oh, it's fantastic.
I just realized in
it's really
hindsight I didn't like give details on like labels at all for my. No, it's fine.
That's all right. It's
Fuck
okay.
it.
My third one, I actually have had a hard time trying to put it on. I had to put it in honorable mentions.
Yeah.
Solely because I couldn't put it on the album of the year because I refuse to acknowledge it as an LP because it's technically 2 7-inches. It's technically 2 EPs put together, but it was released as an LP, and that is emo revival band's emo revival band Algernon Cadwallader's self-titled release that came out on Lauren Records and Asian Man Records. It's a self-titled LP.
I like that record label name.
Yeah, well, it's owned by a guy named
Asian Man?
Mike Park, I believe, and he is
Oh.
Asian, so that is why it is
You know what?
Asian Man Records.
Straightforward.
Yeah, It's cool.
Concise.
It's a good label. Good label. I like those guys. He shipped my albums pretty fucking quick to me, honestly.
Oh, does he do it all himself?
Yeah.
I like that.
Good record label. I highly recommend supporting Asian Man Records.
Cool.
But yeah, I couldn't put this on my album of the year list because it's technically just 2 7-inch EPs. It's their Fun EP and an unreleased 7-inch.
Fun.
That previously unreleased 7-inch that they put at the beginning of the album. So they just decided to package it as an LP. It's very classic emo revival, good as fuck. Just really good, really energetic, happy emo, which is really weird sounding.
Hey man, it's emotion. Maybe your emotion's happy.
True. But that was one of the the later releases. That was one of the later releases of the year that came out on December 14th of 2018.
Nice.
So there's that one, Algernon Cadwallader, self-titled on Lauren Records and Asian Men Records. Recommend giving that a listen heavily. And my last honorable mention is going to be a release that actually came out about a year ago, about 50 weeks ago, 2 weeks from under a year, almost a year ago. And that is Tiny Moving Parts' album Swell. It came on Triple Crown Records.
Okay.
Yeah, I know. As much as I love Tiny Moving Parts, I don't think the album is one of their best albums, but
Okay.
I do think it was a better album of the year.
Mm-hmm.
They really kind of lost me with the less screaming. They kind of took away Matt's vocals from the music a lot, which is kind of a bummer because I really liked the dynamic of Dylan doing a lot of the regular vocals and then yelling, and then Matt doing most of the screaming. It was a really nice dynamic, but whatever, just a style change. It had a lot of great tracks like It's Too Cold Tonight, Whale Watching, and Caution. And it's a really high energy album, really mathy, punky emo, very emotional, very yelly and screamy. I actually had this actually was my number 10 on my album of the year. It was my 10 place, but I had another honorable mention that I was debating on swapping out with it for the longest time. And I think I actually decided to swap it out this morning.
Nice.
So,
okay.
This morning of the recording, I guess, what we're recording this morning.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so, it's just one of those things where you kind of had to just decide that there were things that you liked more overall.
Yeah, it really came down to more my deciding factor with taking it off of my top 10 was how did I like it compared to the rest of this discography of the band. And I can explain more of that when we get into the actual listing. So, then, like I said, I don't think Swell was one of their better. Okay. I don't think it was their best album. So,
all right.
Okay.
Do you have any others, or is that it?
Nope. That would be my full list of honorable mentions.
I guess. All right. So before we get into going back and forth on our list, on each other's list, because we're gonna go 10, my 10, your 10. 9.
Yep, we're gonna take turns going back and forth.
So you're saying that you judged albums kind of individually, like on their context for each band, essentially, or
what I
like
did,
how did you
for
order your list? I guess.
Well, I ordered it based on how I thought the album, on how much I enjoyed the album throughout the year. Okay. That's how I ranked. That's how I ranked my 10. I was just saying that one example I used compared to previous releases because it was that close.
Okay. Yeah, I guess I just haven't.
I had to find some tie breaking factor.
Oh, okay, that's fair. All right, yeah, that's that works. Something. Yeah, I guess that works as a contingency in that situation.
Yeah.
Yeah, because for the most part, I did the same thing. I went with what I enjoyed the most, and the other metric that I used was how often did I find myself actually going back to it to listen again, Right.
Right. That was one too. Yeah. That was one I did too.
And when I did that, the list was abundantly clear.
Yeah. Right. Right.
Except for my number 10. My number 10, I did the same thing where it was compared to their other stuff. It was I guess you're going there, buddy.
So now, since we've teased enough about that, do we want to, let's just dive right into the list.
Since I started, what's your number 10?
Me first? Okay.
Yeah.
My number 10.
Wow, number 10. Me first for once.
Oh my God.
Those real friends.
No, that's not my number 10. My number 10 is actually this is where the double album counts as one album thing comes into play, and it actually is for Between the Buried and Me's Automata release.
Okay.
I am putting Automata 1 and 2 together as a full album for number 10 because I don't think Automata 1 would even be an honorable mention in my opinion without Automata 2 to have context with it.
Yeah.
And I know I mentioned that to you before, but I honestly don't think the first half of the album works with the second half for context, because when you play them together, they just flow so well that you wonder why they were split. Sumerian. But yeah, so the Automata records came out in Sumerian records, March for the first part and July.
At the very least, there shouldn't have been such a gap. I think
right.
That's mostly what killed the excitement for me, was like, so I understand your placement on that. It's just like, so it's hard to look past that. Like they kind of killed it by having like a 5-month gap.
Yeah. The thing with the gap
month.
for me though, like the 5-month gap thing,
because you sit with that first album that doesn't work on its own is a problem.
Right.
I mean.
And it's not like, to compare it to like another double album that I know of, it's not like the Afterman double album from Coheed and Cambria, where they're their own individual pieces of context. They work on their own. They don't need the other album fully.
Yeah, they're like, because Afterman's that's two stories of like two individual stories of a dude in his life.
Yeah.
But this is like literally a story that got cut in half.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, exactly. And that's the unfortunate part.
That's different. Yeah.
I do think if it would have been one album, it would have been on my list for sure. But if we hadn't decided to make double albums one album, then this wouldn't even be on my list. It probably would. That would have been where Tiny Moving Parts would have been. But yeah, Between the Buried and Me, Automata 1 and 2 double album, the Automata double album, that's going to be my number 10.
We'll find out
best albums for 2018.
Yeah, we'll find out later that, I don't know, I was able to kind of look past that aspect a little bit, mostly just because I'm weird and actually enjoy the first part, but like a lot. Well, but that's just me.
Mean, I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying, like, the standout for
No, but even for me, like, it worked on its own.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know.
But that's me.
All I know is I liked Blot and Millions.
Hey, dude, Yellow Teeth is like one of their best, like...
Yellow Eyes.
Yeah, sorry. Yellow Teeth is
Yellow Teeth is Protest. Yeah.
No, like, in terms of BT Bam's, like, 8-minute tracks that are like really hard and fast and heavy and in your face, like Son of Nothing and stuff like that. Like Yellow Eyes is like one of their best ones of that. I love it.
Sure.
For me.
Yeah, no, it's a great continuation of the sound they started in Coma Ecliptic, and I think that if they keep along this path, I don't think it would be a bad thing. I just think they need to find a way to spice it up a little bit more, and then it'll be a pretty good sitting for the band sound wise. So with that out of the way, what's your number 10, Micah?
Mine is yours. I won't go into a lot of detail because it is on our list to actually talk about, because I want to have you listen to it.
Yeah, just little snips, just little snippy snips.
I went with Vector by Haken, which is their British prog band, and it's their 5th album. Okay. It was released on Inside Out Music, and it was released October 26th, 2018. And so like I said, my number 10 was kind of based on compared like context of their work as a whole, and this was kind of a meh, honestly. Like it's weird that I'm saying it's only a 45-minute album, but this is a band that usually put out like over an hour-long albums, so it felt really short, you know. It felt like but it felt short in the sense that like you hit the end and you kind of went, oh wait, it's over. Like you felt like you didn't get an entire package, because it's 45 minutes and it's only 7 tracks.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's like these are long boys for the most part.
So see, there's that thing with the EP thing and the shortening and all that stuff.
Yeah, like there's 2 7.
See, they released that as an album, right?
Yeah, there's 3 7-minute tracks, 1 12-minute track that pushes 13, and then a 2-minute and a 5-minute. So it's like, I think it's mostly just because you have so few songs. It also goes by really fast, you know, because
the change happens. You don't have as many changes.
Yeah,
right.
But it's produced amazingly, so that's why it is on my list. The songwriting's stellar. There's a track that honestly. Like, I texted somebody, it may have been you, where I was listening to it and I realized, oh, these guys are honestly probably coming as close as possible to being kind of like the band that picks up the Dream Theater torch a little bit. Like a little, like they inspired that in me.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
I like to hear that. I can't wait to listen to it.
And it's really ironic because on the vinyl that I have, the quote, you know, like sometimes albums and vinyl have like a quote from somebody that's like praising it, and then it says like who it's from, you know. It was, I forgot what the quote was, but it was from Mike Portnoy. And then underneath his name, it says produced by ex-Periphery bassist Nolly. Get good. So like it has Dream Theater and Periphery like stamps on it, and so that's a big one for me, you know.
Hell yeah.
It's exactly pandering to me, but I liked their previous work a lot more, so I didn't really want to put it too high up on my list.
Yeah, I remember you telling me about that band a couple years ago, and I think I listened to, what was their last album? That was Green and Blue one.
Affinity, yeah.
Affinity, yeah, I listened to some of that album. I thought they were all right.
That's 80s cheese. Listen to The Mountain. It's like one of their best albums.
Okay.
Yeah, it's way more out there. There's some a cappella metal in there at a few places. Cool. But yeah, this album was their heaviest, and I think it was the best in that sense, but just because it was so short. Yeah.
Cool. So which record label did that come out on again? Did you mention that? I can't remember.
Yeah, I did. Inside Out Music.
Inside Out Music. Okay, that's right. Okay.
All right. So what's your number 9?
My number 9 is going to be another album that we talked about on the podcast. It's actually going to be Death Grips' Year of the Snitch, which came out on Third World's Records and Harvest Records, I think is where the vinyl was released through.
I almost put that on an honorable mention, but I didn't want to. It's not on my list at all.
Came out June 22nd of 2018. Honestly, probably Death Grips' best release
really?
To date. Yes. Okay. Not counting, no, I'm not going to say not counting their ex-military EP, because you have to count that. Yeah, I will say it's not the best, but it's one of the best. It's better than Bottomless Pit. I will say that. They're the previous album before it. Another just very high energy, dramatic. Their usage of sampling their own music for this album,
meta as fuck,
which they did a lot. Like if you look up the sample credits, like there is a lot of self-sampling.
Using creepy murder, like serial killer audio.
Well, just like for instance, on Flies, they sampled their own songs. I've Seen Footage, System Blower, and Spread Eagle Cross the Block. In Linda's in Custody, in Linda's in Custody, they sampled the song "You Might Think He Loves You for Your Money, but I Know What He Really Loves You For," and it's your brand new leopard skin pillbox hat. They actually sampled that song on Linda's in Custody, so that's cool. On Ha Ha Ha, they sampled 5 of their own songs, which are I Want It, I Need It, Little Boy, Lock Your Doors, Lord of the Game, and Up My Sleeves. And then they sampled Paranoia Man in Cheap Shit Room by The Fall.
I feel like any other band that would be viewed as cheap. But here, like for them, it just, obviously it works.
Yeah, it's just crazy how they were able to create such interesting and such like discussion-provoking music, in my opinion, through sampling their own stuff.
Yeah.
just a lot of it. There's a lot of owns like self-sampling.
Yeah, because it was crazy. Never done. Like, was it ever done? Like, it's done tastefully, right? Like, it's
I didn't know. I didn't know they sampled themselves
at all. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know they sampled themselves at all. It's crazy. Also, the artwork is just, it adds points because it's disgusting, but it's like interesting to look at.
Dude, what's with all these really good hip hop artists making disgusting art?
It's crazy, right?
Why do they do it?
But yeah, that's my number 9. That's my number 9 on my top 10. Death Grips' Year of the Snitch on Third World's Records.
Nice.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
The 9th best released of 2018.
IMO. So
what was your number 9? No.
It was Where Owls Know My Name by Rivers of Nile.
Oh, nice.
It was put out on Metal Blade Records, and it made my list because it is an absolute just great progression for the band. They outdid themselves compared to their previous album, which was fantastic. That album was called Monarchy. And I feel like it should mention the weird psychedelic 70s video they put out for The Silent Life. That was pretty great.
Yeah,
I think it was The Silent Life.
Right?
No, it was
so,
was it the title track?
It was the title track. It was
Yeah.
Growls Know My Name. Yeah.
So I like that they're going that direction too. I obviously that was probably a one-off maybe, but just at least they're not taking themselves seriously. But yeah, no,
Right.
I guess it's so low on my list just because for me personally, I just had things that I liked more.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that's
fair.
literally it, you know?
That's fair.
For subjective reasons, because for me, even though I'm an outspoken person that likes technical death metal, it still falls by the wayside compared to other genres, just like more traditional prog and like pop punk and like post-hardcore music, you know, at this point.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's why I put it not at the bottom, the very bottom.
not at the because
they didn't. Yeah, they did nothing wrong with this. Like all they did was do better, which is all you can ever ask from a band. Like there were no missteps on this, and I'm really excited.
I was surprised at how good that album was too, because that's another album we discussed on the show in the earlier episodes.
Mm-hmm.
That was a great album, and I'm glad I got to listen to that album this year. I probably never would have without your recommendation, so that's cool.
Yeah, it's one of the few places where saxophone worked with death metal for me.
Yeah.
But I think it was usually because they didn't necessarily put heaviness behind the saxophone. They did slow it down to accompany it, you know, like and you hit like an ambient section instead, because normally I hate it because they try to have the blast beats with the saxophone. And you're just like
right.
So yeah, what's your number 8?
My number eight is this is actually an album we have not talked about and probably will not talk about.
What?
Because
we're gonna now,
because it's we're gonna talk about it now.
Motherfucker.
It's actually my number 8 is the Kids See Ghosts debut self-title.
Oh, they do?
For those
I haven't heard of this at all.
For those unaware, Kids See Ghosts is it's a new hip hop duo created by Kanye West and Kid Cudi.
I see.
Yeah, that
what do
would
you
be
mean
why you've never heard of it. Because they have talked about it enough.
Thank you for not.
It came out
You're
under
right.
It came out under Kanye's music label Good Music and Def Jam Music.
Okay.
Was released June 8th. It's this is the one that I was worried about the EP thing, because it's only 7 tracks long, but it is and it's only 23 minutes and 53 seconds long. But they did put it out as an album. They insist it is a debut album and not any kind of EP. So therefore I am treating it as such.
So it made the list.
Because otherwise it would have been another honorable mention.
Well,
but yeah, great, fantastic hip hop album. It's a really psychedelic hip hop album.
okay. Yeah, that sounds interesting.
It starts off it starts off with the track Feel the Love featuring with a Pusha T feature on it. He does a verse at the beginning, I believe. And it's got this really like minimal beat to start off with, just kind of little ba ba ba, just a little synthesizer thing going on underneath it. And then you've got Cudi coming in with I can still feel love. And you're like, oh, okay. I don't know what's happening anymore. And halfway through the song during I believe it's during Push's verse, Kanye comes out of nowhere just making like there's loud gunshot noises, and Kanye just comes in and you're like, what is happening? Now this album is just it's a trip, dude. It's a trip from start to finish, and it feels very raw in some spots. Kid Cudi's singing and his vocals and everywhere he is featured is very well placed, I think, and he has a very fantastic sounding voice on this album. He doesn't sound, it's just, whatever his contributions were did not sound as bad as the album that Cudi put out previously, which everybody who knows Kid Cudi knows that album was trash.
I don't even know, and I know it was trash.
I'm not even gonna mention it
I'm lying.
by name. But yeah, no, just a really good experimental psychedelic hip hop album from Kanye and Kid Cudi.
Nice.
The artwork's really cool too. I really like the artwork, and I want that as like a wall print.
Okay.
Yeah,
What?
if you ever looked that up.
I was looking it up. Yeah, I like that art a lot.
It's really good. It's really good. I like it.
Could you hear me typing?
Yes. I heard like the little.
Yeah, like that
the
water.
art was done by
watercolor.
It was done by Takashi Murakami.
Nice.
So
did a good job.
Yeah.
I don't know what
that's
the
my
music
number
sounds
8.
like, but you did a good job, Takashi.
Yeah.
Takashi-san.
Takashi-kun.
That was probably not. That's probably
it's fine,
insensitive. It's fine.
Nah, it's fine.
I like him though.
You use proper grammar. That's all that matters. Anyway, before this gets too weeb shit, what's your number 8?
Is Headstorm by Abandoned by Bears.
Oh, I forgot about that album.
Yeah,
that's a good choice.
so did I, and I realized, oh shit, this should actually like make it because it was released on Victory Records, and I'm on their website for it, and I don't see the date that it was released. Like,
I think it was like August
right
28th or something, wasn't it?
Yes, it was released in August. It's fine. It doesn't matter.
August. Good enough. August
24th. There it is.
Oh, it was close. Damn.
All right. So it was just, as far as I can tell, again, for them, it was, I think it's only like their second album, maybe. They haven't had a ton.
I thought that was their first album.
No, it's their second album.
Was it? Oh yeah, that's right. Because their first album was like only on Bandcamp or something.
No, you can get it through Victory Records also.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's called The Years Ahead is their first one.
Yeah, you're right.
But as far as I can tell, like just the production of this, the songwriting, the subversion of expectations, because essentially what they're doing is A Day to Remember, just good.
Right. Yeah.
What we always say.
I remember saying that. Yeah.
Yeah. They outdid themselves, and they're just some good boys from Sweden, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're from Sweden.
Why are you asking me? You're the one who...
I don't know if you remembered.
I remember.
Yeah, but they got proggy with it at certain points. I remember that the final track escalated to even having blast beats out of nowhere, which was nuts.
Yeah, just completely out of nowhere.
Yeah, because like this album was paced perfectly. I think that's kind of what earns it a spot on the list, is that it's the style of music, and it was paced in such a way where it starts out familiar if you know pop punk, but then it actually gets progressively heavier, adding more and more screams to each song, and eventually even becoming kind of progressive metal on the last track. And I'm so excited to hear what they have coming out next.
Yeah.
That's my praise.
That was a great album if I remember it correctly.
I thought you were going to say that was a great description. I got excited.
It was good. All right.
You didn't praise me. You praised the
all right.
You whore. What was your number 7?
My number 7. Okay. My number 7 was...
I just want one of these to be like the same number between the two of us, but it probably won't.
Right. I'm waiting for it, dude. I'm waiting. We're gonna like hit it on accident and go, oh.
Change your pants.
Yeah. Right. No.
Clear our browser
we'll see.
history.
This will be interesting because we forgot to mention. Yeah, we have not shared these lists with each other at all.
Nope.
We have kept these completely secret. So it
And
will
safe.
be interesting to see if we match up anywhere at all. Anyway,
Gandalf would be proud.
I'm done stalling. My number 7.
What, are you making the list as we go?
No. I would never do that. Shut up. I'm not editing this, by the way. This is going to be a completely raw episode. Oh, this will be fantastic. I can't wait. Okay, my number 7 is Artificial Selection from Dance Gavin Dance.
Really?
Yep.
Wow.
It is my number 7.
Okay.
I had it at number 4 originally, but I had to change it after some more listening.
Nice. Okay.
So, one of the stronger releases of the year for sure, I will say. I had it in my top 5 initially for good reason. It's the 8th studio by Dance Gavin Dance. It's their follow-up to 2016's... Oop, that's a dime I had in my hand. Heyo. It's a follow-up to Mothership from 2016. And personally, it has become one of my favorite Dance Gavin Dance records. I got it twice on vinyl.
Yeah.
It's, a solid 51 minutes long. It's long for a Dance Gavin Dance record.
Yeah, there's a lot for you.
Yeah. And it has such good songs in there. Like standout ones for me are The Rattler, Shelf Life, not Gospel Burnout, Bloodsucker,
Dude,
Evaporate,
Bloodsucker's
obviously.
Oh, dude, that thing goes off.
Yeah, did you know that it's the only song that does
I
not
see that at
feature
the
Will
bottom
Swan?
there. I see it.
Yep.
That's weird.
It's crazy.
Yeah. In terms of vocal arrangement and like effectiveness, in terms of like, there's that point with the vocals. What are the lyrics? There's just a point where it like kind of climaxes and it's just amazing. Oh, I can't remember what it is. Oh, the Wait, I Feel Nothing, Am I Becoming?
Yeah.
Desensitized to, like that rhythm. Like I really love that climax of that song.
Yeah. No, just a great album front to back.
It's proggy as shit. It has a lot of changes.
There's only like one slump song that I can think of, and that's
What
probably
is
like hair song.
Oh, you fuck!
I don't remember that song like ever, dude.
I love that song.
No, like straight up, when I was listening to this album like this past week, I hit Story of My Bros, and I completely don't even think I remember hearing Hair Song, and then all of a sudden I was like, oh, Gospel Burnout.
Dude, I absolutely love the rhythm of John Mess's parts in Hair Song, personally.
That's fair.
Like, I jive with that heavily. Because he's just, like, listing out all these different ways to style your hair. It's a silly song.
Yeah, that's true. It is just goofy. But great release, Dance Gavin Dance. That's my number 7.
Nice.
It was, I forgot to mention it was released on Rise Records, but I'm sure that's obvious if you know who
Rise
Dance Gavin Dance is. Yeah, but I mean, Dance Gavin Dance kind of doesn't do Rise Core.
No, they don't.
It's nice and refreshing. And
no, like I've said,
I don't know.
Back when Periphery was on Sumerian, they were kind of the similar situation where it's like, oh, Sumerian Core, except their flagship band isn't Sumerian Core.
Right. It's kind of weird.
Yeah. That's what Dance Gavin Dance is.
I thought this was a great album to follow up the, in my opinion, disappointment that Mothership was. So I was really bummed there wasn't a lot of tracks. Yeah, there wasn't a lot of tracks on Mothership I could really jive with. So I was kind of bummed that album came out and I had to deal with that for 2 years.
So was this like lower just because it had some songs that were kind of like forgettable?
It was just lower because I listened to everything above it more.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Like that's straight up at this point is where it becomes the how much did I listen to it.
Okay. Dope.
For the most part, at least.
I respect that.
Yeah.
I respect you.
Yeah, so from 6 to 1. Thanks, buddy. I
love
respect you too. No, too far. I love you. All right. What was your number 7?
I put Nearer My God by Foxing at my number 7. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, that was released on August 10th from Triple Crown Records, and we did talk about that on the show as well. It is the third studio album.
Studio album.
There's a I'm gonna start calling them albos now.
Studio albo, dude.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Anyway.
Actually, you know what? I kind of forgot that it was such a long album. It's 56 minutes. That's crazy. And I always forget looking at the track list. I just never remember that 5 Cups is 9 minutes long. That song goes by so fast.
It's ridiculous, yeah.
Yeah.
For being one of like the slower and more relaxed tracks on the album, it goes by hella fast.
Mm-hmm. Because like the whole album goes by really fast. That's why I was surprised it's 56 minutes as well. Just it's a ride, and it feels like the reason it made my list in general was that, again, it's the band taking a natural step forward and actually doing better than their previous work, and it actually, like, you can hear that they put kind of everything into the songwriting of this album. Like, it feels like they kind of took a risk almost. Like, I kind of compared this to there's kind of a little phrase or something that you can say, like, it's this band's Octavarium, because Octavarium's kind of like, people are like, it's like their best album, or just, it's kind of like a just
It's their magnum opus.
Yeah, kind of a and this absolutely feels like so far like Foxyne's magnum opus. It's like it just the atmosphere of the whole album, like everything they put into it. It just you feel that this is their statement, and yeah, the reason it's just lower is that it's kind of more off the wall, alternative indie-ish, you know, and just for me personally, I won't come back to listen to that as much as other things, but this album specifically, I have listened to a ton. It's just there's other things that I have listened to more, but I love this album so much. Yeah.
Cool.
It is
so what's that?
One of my
that
favorites.
What's that put us on number 6 then?
Number 6.
All right, number 6. My number
Watch
6
Mojo.
Is, shut up! We're gonna get sued.
Oh no!
Shit! Now I have to edit this episode, man. Come on! Don't make me do work.
No, it's fine.
I'm not gonna.
We're not making money from this.
Correct. Anyway, so my number 6 album of 2018 was actually Nightstand by Tankard. I know
okay.
We were talking about this album. Yeah, I know we talked about this album extensively when it came out back in June. I believe
partially because we didn't know how to talk about albums as well. Probably.
Yeah, it was great.
I was hoping we would have talked about Artificial Selection for 45 minutes like before.
Yeah, right. But yeah, no, I put Nightstand at number 6 because at the time when it came out, I remember I listened to this album non-stop.
Yeah, you did.
I should mention it came out on Polyvinyl Records.
Like at the time that was your like William like Bonnet.
It was
right?
William Bonney. Yeah,
Bonnie, yeah.
It was this band was literally all I like would eat, breathe, and drink for 2-3 weeks.
Drinking from that tankard.
Yeah. No, it's just such a great song with tracks on it like Apple Tree Girl and Clipping and Just You. Like just the album is just a whole ass mood, and I could not stop listening to it to the point where I was worried I wouldn't be able to listen to any other music for the rest of the year because it was that good.
Oh no.
Which is weird to say that and then put it at number 6.
Yeah, like I
was very enthralled with it, but I didn't think it was the best release of this year. It was definitely the best Tankard release, in my opinion, and it will be very hard to top it. So I hope at best, Jess and the group can stay at this level for years to come.
Yeah, I like how that's like basically the reverse situation of my Nearer My God placement, where it was like I acknowledged that it was probably one of the better albums of last year, but for me subjectively, I just didn't. Like it's the reverse situation.
Yeah, no, I just could not stop listening to it, so I had to have it on here somewhere. But I thought it was a little too high, putting it above number 5. So I think number 6 is a good spot for it.
Hey, I mean, it's there.
Yeah. No,
it deserves it.
Definitely, it's something to say. It's the 6th best album of the year. So I would take it.
I love you, Jess Abbott.
Yeah, we love you, Jess Abbott.
You're your best. No.
No. So what was your number 6?
Why are you stealing my moment?
Shut up.
Huh. I like that. So my number 6 was The Skeptic from Tillion. And
I'm sorry, what was number 6? I was laughing over what you said.
The Skeptic by Tillion. So
okay. Yeah, I didn't even put that anywhere.
Yeah, that's the lead singer for Dance Gavin Dance, the current lead singer. It's his solo project, and it's his
I think it's his 3rd full release.
It is his 3rd full release. Yes, it was released on September 28th, 2018, and I don't remember what record label that was released on.
It wasn't Blue Swan, was it?
No,
I don't think he was released under his own or under not his own.
I was on the label website when I found that opaque red vinyl that I liked a lot, even though that was the standard edition and the limited edition was opaque black, which I don't understand.
It's rare. Well, dude, that's like listener recently. Oh, that was a piece of news I could have said. No, I'll tell you later. Don't worry about it.
No, you can't tease me like that.
No, it's not a big deal. It'll just I don't want to edit this episode, so we're just gonna move on.
Yeah. So I put it here at my number. Is this number 6?
6. Yeah, 6.
Okay. So yeah, I think it was another one of those things where this is probably the one where I listened to this back to back, like repeatedly, like while doing homework, and every single time it was over in an instant, and I was like, I want to listen to that again, just because like Ghost Town is such a high to end on that you're like still with it,
Rise Records, by the way.
Is it Rise? Okay. Yeah, I wasn't sure if it was. I figured it would be on the same, just kind of like how Tommy from BT Bam is releasing on Sumerian also with his solo.
Right.
So, yeah, I think I like the way I described it on the episode we talked about this is just that this album is it's a piece of candy. It's just a treat to listen to, like, cause it's like that kind of poppy.
Yeah.
Piece
it's
of
like,
music.
it's interesting pop.
Yeah. And it's, when I say it's candy, I just mean like you have it as a treat and you just listen to it.
It
yeah.
tickles you in the
it makes you happy.
way.
Yeah. It's comforting. And it'll make you cry at certain moments. Hold on.
I'm gonna need you to stop.
I'm gonna need you to stop right there. Let's just yell. You want to go like? Let's go do a live watch.
Is good.
Of let's go do a live watch of Hold On.
Yeah.
Right now.
No.
But no, I was giggling at the start when I was looking at the description for Tillion's wiki because I didn't realize that it says Tillion Pearson also mononymously as Tillion. Mononymously.
Mononymously? Mononymously?
Yeah, I can't.
Yeah, mononymously.
I didn't know that was like a word that people said.
Yeah. No, I think that's like when somebody goes by their first name, like only their first name.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah, that's weird. That's a weird word for it.
Mononymously. Yeah. So again, so I was kind of saying, like, you had your situation where you listened to that a ton and you kind of got worried. Like, I think I had that similar situation because I was just like, it's just so easy to listen to over and over, and
it really is.
Yeah, I had that brief period where this was all I listened to for like a week when it first came out. I know that you kind of slept on it for a little bit before we did the episode.
I did. I slept on it for a long time.
Yeah, I got on this right away when it came out. And
yeah, you did.
Yeah. So at that point, I'll put it at number 6 subjectively, but objectively, there's things that I feel like were better, and we'll get to those. What was your number 5?
All right, my number 5. My number 5 was actually the Me Without You Untitled LP that came out on October 5th on Run for Cover Records.
Okay.
This was a very good album this year. It scratched the itch for
juicy,
poetic post-hardcore that I had. Because it's been a while since we've had like a La Dispute album or anything like that.
That sounded pretentious as shit, dude.
I know it did. God damn, I know it did. But there's no other way to describe it really, because it is.
Yeah.
It's mostly spoken word and there's some screaming and a little bit of singing. But no, it's just a very dynamic album. You've got these strong opener tracks with 9:27 a.m., 7:29.
Mm-hmm.
It's just straight off the bat, just assaults you in the face with hard, heavy screaming and driving guitars. And then you got Julia or Holy to the Lord on the Bells of Horses as the second track, and it kind of slows you down while keeping the intensity. And then it gets all the way down to Dormouse Size, where it's just relax a little bit. And then you get to Winter Solstice, and it's a little more relaxing. And then you've got Tortoises all the way down to kind of chill you out. And it's got such a good flow where the album starts off the album has like a really high, like steep curve kind of going, where you get a really high point to start off, and then it kind of curves down, and then you get to Tortoises all the way down and Flee Thou Matadors and kind of come up a little bit, and then it goes down again and gets more relaxing as the album closes out.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very, very interesting album. It's so I the first few listens I got of it were, I wasn't like enthralled. It was almost another one of those I couldn't stop listening scenarios. Just very, very easy to come back to, very easy to come in and out of. You can pop in the middle of it and listen to something. You can just start it from the beginning and never stop wherever. It's just a great album. It's probably, in my opinion, the best release by Me Without You.
Nice. Yeah, I've seen their name around a little bit, probably just through posts by you, but I haven't listened to them yet.
Yeah.
I'll get to it.
Did I mention that came out Run for Cover Records, RFC?
Yes, you did.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah, no, just very, very good, very emotionally taxing album.
I mean,
if you actually
it also
listen,
it sounds like it's fulfilling the requirement that I usually have, where it has to be dynamic and all the different types of like songwriting that you listed out. I feel like definitely satisfies that.
yeah, if you haven't listened to this, I think I would like to talk about this album on the show sometime.
Okay.
We actually have a little like in-depth thing in it, so that could be an
Nice.
episode coming up, hopefully before it gets too far in the past.
Okay. If we listen, we won't give too much attention to it for reasons. But if I liked the Old Grey album, is those reasons. If I like that album, like, is this kind of like, because that was like spoken word and like soft in parts and heavy, like that kind of thing.
Definitely. If you liked that Old Grey album we talked about, then you would most likely enjoy this.
Okay, I'm assuming it's not as heavy and foreboding.
There are some parts,
but not like through the way that is.
No.
Okay.
There's like I said, there's peaks and valleys.
Dope.
Yeah, that's my number 5, and this is where it gets into almost solely how much I listen to it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's about 5. Almost the same. One of them.
Me Without You, Untitled LP.
All right.
What was your number 5?
It was actually Swell by Tiny Moving Parts.
Hey.
Yeah, that's why I was like, oh shit, yours is way lower than mine. No. Yeah, I put it here based on just the fact that I listened to it a ton, and it's kind of just, it's going to happen again with Dance Gavin Dance, but this is just, since this was new recently, in that like it's a really accessible new album if you've never listened to the band before, and this is essentially what I'm starting my journey with the band on, Yeah. And
no, that's totally viable.
Yeah. I feel that if you enjoy this, it's definitely a good gateway into, all right, maybe now I'll check out their other stuff, because it's kind of similar to how like I would recommend. I like how all I have are Between the Buried and Me. Like examples. Like my gut reaction is always to recommend like Coma Ecliptic, because it's the least in your face, like jarring. Even though Colors is like
misdirect, dude.
Yeah,
I still say the Great Misdirect.
I feel like Obfuscation's probably a little too heavy still, even for me to like recommend to somebody. But
you've got the
Mirrors is great. Yeah, Mirrors.
Grows, but me.
But overall, I feel like Coma Ecliptic is the least like offensive if someone's not familiar with the music. Period. And so I think that, again, like Swell by Tiny Moving Parts is a good gateway into, all right, maybe I'll go listen to their more raw stuff now,
Yeah. And that came out on Triple Crown Records, right?
Yep.
January 17th, I believe.
Yeah, this was an early one.
18th. January 18th or 17th.
Yeah. The fact, like, I always love it when January albums make like album of the years.
Yeah, it was hard for me to even remember to mention this one because it was so early in the year. Yeah, like I forgot about a bunch of releases earlier this year.
Yeah, I was just going through my like just recent artists that like I was going deep into my recent artists, just looking at random things, and I came across it and I was like, oh yeah, shit, that album's amazing. Like.
Yeah.
It like I love it. Like Whale Watching and Warm Hand Splash are always the ones that stood out to me personally.
Right.
I just love the hooks in those.
Oh, that's good. I'm glad it ended up on your list then, because like I said, it was barely beat out on mine. So
yeah, that's fair. I do personally. I'm glad that you still put BT Bam on your list. You're fine.
But that was your number 5, right?
Yeah, it was.
Okay, cool. So then is that
again? That one was. Yeah, that one was there for subjective reasons and based on I listened to this over and over a ton. But cool. I think it like I said, it's a really good starting point, and I wonder if that was intentional by them to make something accessible to new fans,
Maybe.
Since they are like more out there now.
Sure.
I guess. But yeah. What's your number 4?
All right, my number 4 is actually the album that we just talked about, Hail the Sun's Mental Knife.
Yeah, I realized
on Equal Vision.
Once we finished talking about it, I was like, you know what, that probably could have made it. Now that I've talked through it, I feel like I like it a lot more.
Right. Yeah, no, I after I'd been listening to it a bunch for the last episode, I just realized in general, damn, this is a good album. Just like this is a really solid and really good album in general. It came out on September 28th, and this is actually the album that I swapped places with Dance Gavin Dance with. I originally had this album at number 7 on my list, but then after listening to it more today and more this morning, specifically more last night and this morning a lot, I came to the realization that it was just a generally better album than Artificial Selection. So I was like, okay, I got to swap them.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like if you put it in
every
context
song on this album.
Yeah, if you put it in context of the previous stuff, and then also like song to song quality, like consistency, I would agree that this is probably a little better.
Yeah, every song on this album, every track is awesome from start to finish, and I don't really want to go into it much more than that because we just did a whole episode on it where I gushed for nearly 40 minutes on how good this album is. So if you want to hear my full thoughts on that, literally just play the last episode in the queue.
Yeah, and it's a little different because like those songs flow really well. Like it feels like the album is a package, and that's why like the first and last tracks are really good intros and outros, you know? Like it feels this is a package that flows really well. Like Artificial Selection was kind of just a collection of songs also. So that's I could understand why that would also push it out a little bit.
Also for the record, I'm not sure, I might have mentioned it. I might have said they were from Anaheim on the last episode. I think I'm wrong. They are definitely from California, but I'm not sure if they're from Anaheim.
You said California. I don't remember if you did say Anaheim though. If you did, yikes.
Yeah.
If you said Anaheim, California.
I was looking on their Bandcamp and I noticed it says Anaheim, California. I didn't realize that was under their shows tab, but they are from California.
Because isn't Anaheim, Florida?
No, Anaheim's in California.
Is it?
Yes.
Well, I feel like
I don't know.
You know what? I mean, hey, I'm always wrong. So.
No. What was your number 4?
I had no idea.
What was your number? What was your number 4?
No. We're gonna talk about this for a little bit.
No, we don't have
to. So I threw, just because I really want to talk about it, and I know that we probably never will because it's instrumental. I put my number 4 was "Homebound" by Sidhu I.
Nice.
Sidhu Aliens.
Sidhu Aliens.
Nice. Because he's been spacey. He's been kind of the contemporary spaceman band lately.
Oh God.
Reset. God.
Those shirts. We really need to find those shirts.
I don't have mine anymore. There's no way.
That's a bummer.
I'll just make a new one.
God. No, the joke will be stupid. The joke's already stupid.
I'll make a sweatshirt. That way it lasts.
So anyway, Sidhu I.
Yeah, I threw this here because this is a follow-up to his previous album, which was it was a 90-minute double album called Set Course for Andromeda, where the first, like, it was a 2-disc, and the first disc was the trip to Andromeda, and then the second disc was a suite of kind of orbiting Andromeda, and they were like observing an alien going through some tribal trials and tribulations, I guess. And it was just really cool that it was a suite, you know?
So what was this album that on your list called again? I don't think you said it.
This one's I did. It's called Homebound.
Oh, Homebound. You did say it.
So you have Set Course for Andromeda, and then this is the follow-up called Homebound, just coming back, you know.
Cool.
And between the two, like, I want to say that this is a. No, hang on, I'm gonna look it up real quick. So
look it up real quick. What do you think I'm gonna do? Edit this out?
Hey man, you know what?
What a fool!
This is what you get.
If you think I'm touching this episode,
just keep talking, keep buying time.
Oh, don't worry. I'm gonna keep shaming you for thinking I'm gonna edit this episode because I'm not.
I never said you were gonna. All right, it's a 40. So this is a 45-minute album.
Cool.
So between the two, it's like 130 minutes.
A nice hour and a half of music.
Yeah. No, like 130 minutes. Like that's 2 hours.
Oh no,
dude.
that's like 2 hours of music. Oh Jesus.
Yeah. So like you have a triple album here now, and so that's what like. I sent you a wall of text that was essentially a review of this when I finished listening. Do you remember that?
Did. Nope.
You don't, dude, because all you like, you didn't even reply to it. All you did was say like, "Yikes." You're like, "Holy shit, dude! Ha ha ha!" And that like you never even said anything.
Yeah, I don't think I knew what it was.
Yeah, I'll never be able to find it. Like, I don't know if I can scroll up that far because I could
God.
honestly, like, the review that I sent you, I could just read that verbatim and that would
Yeah,
work for the show.
Just don't.
I'll just figure out how. I'll just say it again. So, since it's the return trip, and so the Set Course for Andromeda opens with a really distinctive melody that's all synthesizer, and this does start with that, but that's just to get you familiar. Like, oh, this is the same world.
It's a continuation.
Yeah, but then once it does that, essentially, like, I noticed that what it does is work backwards through all the motifs of the original album because it's the return trip, right?
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, and like as it started to get to the final track the final tracks, Homebound and Galaxies Collide, I noticed that it started to throw a shit ton of motifs from the first real song, but they were like changed enough, and there were oh God! It just
this motherfucker stole my idea. This motherfucker. Dude, I've had a concept album written for the past 3 years with this same exact idea.
But
son of a bitch.
Hey man, you gotta bust them out. And God,
I have to delete it now. Thanks, Sithu I.
And I think I kind of neglected to say it. Like, this is, if I include EPs, because I don't know if I can count what his full length releases were. This is his 13th release, so he's been busting them out pretty consistently.
Oh my God.
You know,
Yeah,
his previous stuff was so of course he had the Set Course for Andromeda, but after Set Course he released a follow-up to his Senpai EP.
yeah, the best one.
Yeah, he just wrote Senpai 2, the Noticing.
Senpai EP 2. Yeah, Senpai EP 2, the Noticing. It's like the best thing, dude.
Yeah, it's just anime music with shredding. That's all it is. But I think that he is putting out some of the best instrumental prog, like, period. He's John Petrucci levels of shredding, but it's not just shredding, which is my main gripe with stuff like Polyphia and Chan, you know. Even though I guess people tell me Chan's not just that, but I'm still just gonna be a stink about it. But this is well composed prog that is all instrumental, but he still conveys a story through those motifs, and I just think it's objectively one of the best albums that came out this year, especially in the context of being a follow up and essentially forming a triple album.
That's
so
crazy.
I talked a lot about that just now. I apologize. What's your number 3?
No, you're good. No, it's okay. No, it's great.
I got excited.
That's good. No, okay. So my number 3 was actually another early release in 2018. It was the album from French hardcore band Birds in Row called "We Already Lost the World."
Oh no!
This album came out
We'll avenge it.
July 13th, 2018, and
Okay.
it is a fantastic 44-minute. I believe it's 44-minute. Yeah, something like 40 minutes.
Oh, I should also, I forgot to say Homebound from Sidhu came out on December 17th. So that was like right at the hind end of the year.
Perfect.
Barely made it. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, no, this album came out on Death Wish Records, July 13th, mid-year.
Yep.
Great, energetic, hardcore album. A lot of the music on my list is very energetic, and that's just because that's the music I like.
And it's hardcore.
No, but this really is, though. It's like it's I would call it like borderline, like real emo. You know what I mean? Like the whole real emo.
Shit.
Real emo only consists of the DC hardcore scene in the late 90s.
Yeah, but is it poetic?
Yeah, actually, fuck you, dude. No, they're just no, they're pretty good. Pretty good album though. Like straight up, it's just a very energetic album. The screams are very good. The vocalist at some point not at some point, in some songs will actually cut down on the screaming and go to more of a singing thing. Just the dynamics on this album are really good. I started listening to it about a month ago is when I first picked it up after seeing it on some other people's, end of the year lists and all that jazz. I thought, you know what, I should probably give this a try, and I did, and I'm glad I did because now it's my third best album of the year.
Yeah, right.
It's such a good record. If you like hardcore at all, I highly recommend listening to this album, picking it up, just blaring it into your ear holes.
Okay.
Because it is a fantastic release from this band, and actually, the vocalist has a solo album coming up soon that I might get into, and we might talk about when it comes out. But for my third favorite record of the year, there's not a lot to say other than it's just a very solid hardcore record. I haven't listened to a lot of hardcore in the past few years, so it was really nice being able to come back to this Birds in a Row release and actually get to experience what is currently going on in the, for lack of a better word, in the meta of dark, hardcore sounding music of 2018.
Ooh, okay. Yeah, I was wondering how dark it was through all the description.
Yeah, it's not like hella dark, but just it's emotional. It's a very, like I said, it is like a quote unquote true emo record. It's got its tinge of hardcore, but it's still very emotional and real in its lyrics.
Nice. Well, I have added it to my library.
Yeah, I would for sure give it a listen if you like any kind of energetic, fast-paced, heavy music that doesn't get too technical, really.
Okay.
So yeah, closing in on the finals. We're doing top 3 now. So what's your top 3?
Oh, just all of them? They are.
No. What's your third best record, my friend?
This is where I put artificial selection for me.
Okay.
So for me, it's there because there's like kind of the same argument I gave for Swell. I just think this is objectively better than Swell. Can we agree on that?
That's fair. Yeah, that's
maybe
I put them about the same, but
okay. Yeah, I mean they're only separated by 1 on my list, so
yeah, right.
I have it here because it's just honestly a phenomenal achievement, especially in their discography. I agree with you that it's probably one of their best that they've put out. Mm-hmm. The songwriting on it is great, and the reason that it's my number 3 instead is just, again, like before, I think the fact that it's kind of a collection of songs, because I really love like seamless flow, right, personally. But that's not to say that the album doesn't flow. It's just I'm a concept album asshole.
Yeah, it's not that the album doesn't flow. It's just that each song is not related to the other song. Yeah, so
they're all standalone tracks.
You can listen to it like an anthology album instead of like a concept album, like you're saying.
But yeah, the fact that this was essentially what got me to actually start listening to Dance Gavin Dance. I started to listen to Mothership before this came out and like really get into them because I was asking you, hey, I see this name a lot. Should I listen to them? And I started listening to that. I started listening to Acceptance Speech and basically everything Tillian era, because Tillian's just so easy. He's so easy to digest.
Sure.
As a new listener.
He's easily the most marketable singer they've had.
Yeah. And going off of that, not only is artificial selection one of their most accessible to a new listener, it's just also one of their best albums. Yeah. And so, especially with Evaporate, like even as a new listener, I could feel the importance of that track.
Yeah, that track was absolutely something.
It's not, I don't mean that it is heavy, but I just mean like it carries a heavy weight with it, I guess.
Yeah, it's
like
mentally heavy.
You can feel the history in it that they're trying to convey, I guess.
Right.
And yeah, that's all I got, really.
Cool. So we moving on to number 2 then?
Yeah, I guess also I span that record, or spun it. Span. I have vinyls. Did you know I have vinyls?
Oh my god.
Edit it this time.
Nope, I'm not editing.
No. No, and yeah, just again on the factor of did I listen to this a lot? Yeah, I listened to this album a lot. Like a lot.
Nice.
So yeah, what was your number 2?
Cool. My number 2
was your poop?
No, don't call it that. No. Oh, no. My number 2 record of 2018 was actually "Nearer My God" by Foxing.
All right.
That came out on Triple Crown Records. By the way,
I can see that.
You didn't mention it.
Yeah, I forgot. I can see that because that genre fits you a lot more than it does me.
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah, and that's what I was thinking too. I had to like really hold back when you said it was at number 7. I was gonna be like, what? Yeah. I dig this album a lot. I think it's their best album. Foxing has just been getting better as they age. There's just so many memorable tracks off of this, like Slapstick, Game Shark, Trapped in Dillards. Bastardizer is actually really memorable now. I know when we first reviewed it, I said it was kind of a snooze fest, but like Bastardizer is good. Won't Drown is a really good track, very good at the end.
Yeah, I love it.
Just
I love it.
they did a lot more experimentation with drum machines and synthesizers on this record, where it sounds more indie and more alternative pop than emo, which is what the Albatross was and what Dealer was kind of more leaning towards with its ambience. Nearer My God is just kind of like a honing in of the skills they have acquired through their previous two albums.
I mean, describing those two albums the way you did, it sounds like this is a marriage of the two.
Yeah, and it's like they took everything they knew and they just put it together, and they were like, okay, let's make the ultimate album. People, I mean, there's a lot of places people say there's down like swings and momentum, such as the title track. People think there's a downswing there.
Hi,
yeah,
that's
right.
me. That was I harped on that too long.
Yeah, it's okay. It's
I
fine.
stand by it.
I mean, I listened to it recently again just to give myself a refresher, so I'd be able to talk about it properly and give it the respect it does deserve, because I feel like this is, as we mentioned when you brought it up on your list, it is Foxing's magnum opus, and as being one of my favorite bands, I had to put it up this high solely because it is their best album, and it did come out in 2018, and this band is just that good.
Yeah, I mean, you just feel that they poured their soul into that album, and
yeah, it shows the hard work they put into it.
And that, I mean, at the end of the day, that's really what makes an album a fantastic album.
That's what makes an album great. So yeah, that's my number 2. What is your number 2?
This is where I put Automata.
Really? Okay, I think I know your number 1, dude.
Shut up.
I think we have the same number 1. That's okay. Go on. No, it's okay. Go ahead.
So, like I said, I was able to look past the gap between the two. It still bothers me, like the gap, the release, the separation, because, you had March 9th and then July 13th as the releases for the two parts. And
I know I said it once already, but since you're mentioning the album again, this did come out on Sumerian.
Yes. And I just think that, I agree that the first part isn't strong enough to stand on its own, but I still listen to it repeatedly. I think if I looked at the hard numbers, I've listened to Automata 1 more than Automata 2. But
really,
Automata 2 is by far like the objectively best part.
Yeah. And see, that's weird that you say that, because like I find it like I want to listen to things like The Voice of Trespass and The Proverbial Bellow and stuff like that off of Automata 2. I find myself wanting to listen to that more than anything off of 1, but I can't listen to 2 without 1.
Yeah, like it's like even then it's like, I'm mad at part 1 for standalone, and I'm like, I love part 2 a lot more, but like there's still like that part of you that's like, it's a concept album, and it genuinely feels weird to just start with part 2.
Yeah, when you put them together, Blot into The Proverbial Bellow is fantastic.
Yeah, for me, like, and that's kind of what I'm basing this on. Like, it's a Between the Buried and Me concept album again. And so, hey, guess what? It's going to be my number. The reason it's my number 2. There's a reason the reason it's my number 2 actually is that this felt like there's the gap thing, and you just can't ignore that, the release gap. And because Blot's a great song. I just didn't think that's a good album closer.
Yeah, it feels incomplete
at all. Yeah.
That sucks.
And the fact that this is kind of a reimagining of the Coma Ecliptic story was kind of what pushed this to my number 2. You know?
That's fair.
Because Coma Ecliptic was, hey, what if we went into comas and dreamed our past lives and lived them that way? And then this is, hey, what if our dreams were,
what if our dreams
as
just
entertainment?
Telecasted?
Yeah, what if it was entertainment, and it just kind of, and the fact that The Proverbial Bellow uses motifs from Coma Ecliptic, but the albums aren't related.
Right. Yeah.
it felt like, like I just had that vibe of they just kind of reused stuff
rehash.
Like they reused like B-sides almost on certain things, and so that's kind of what pushes it to my number 2. And I really hope that, because I guess at this point they're the Dream Man Band instead of Spaceman Band.
Yeah, right. Unfortunate.
I just hope that the next album is wholly, completely original,
standalone or something.
Yeah, not standalone. Like it can be a concept album again. I hope that
that's what I mean. Yeah.
I hope that it doesn't have like that feel of rehash where you hear, oh, that's that motif from that other album. Oh, what do you mean they're not? What?
Yeah, what do you mean? Unless they
They're
rehash
not.
something from Alaska, then I'll be okay with it.
No, that'd be oh man, they just start making a universe with Alaska.
If they just released Alaska 2, I'd be okay with it.
Yeah,
If
but I
Alaska's
think
so good, how come there's no Alaska 2?
in terms of production and songwriting overall, like and pushing the boundary, like I still respect that they always every album it is still something different through and through. Like, and I guess that's partially where they're barring any Sumerian record shenanigans. If they were just genuinely trying out a different business model, I hope that they realize that it didn't necessarily work out.
Pull on the collar of your shirt there.
Or if they do that again, separate it by a month.
Yeah,
max.
No shit, or like a week.
Yeah.
Or like just release them one day after the other. That works.
Because that would have been a cool event. Like, oh shit. But then it just kind of got tiring.
Yeah, I just think they were trying to build up hype for it, and instead, because it was 5 months, it kind of lost hype, and it just sucks.
But
anyway,
so which sucks because I think that Yellow Eyes, I think I mentioned it earlier, that's like one of their best heavy 8-minute or so tracks that they've put out. Like when I look at songs like that or Son of Nothing, prequel to sequel, like I put it up there with those because it's one of those kind of proggy,
just chaotic bashes,
like epics that they put out, you know?
Right.
And then Blot in and of itself is a journey, and that's great. And then Voice of Trespass is a huge risk that some people don't enjoy, but I think I think that they fucking nailed that. Like,
it's awesome.
That was like
so
one of the
good.
most fun songs to hear live.
Right.
And I'll hold that against you that I got to hear that, even though when we see them in February, we'll probably hear that again.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's
They
in
know.
February.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. About that.
And so,
Anyway,
yeah, that's why it's my, like, because of the shortcomings, I got pushed to my number 2. Otherwise, it absolutely would have been my number 1 because I love my boys.
So now,
Yeah.
So now, if we're gonna move on to number 1, I'm curious. I'm gonna say my number 1, and if
Do
it's
we have
the
to say it at the same time?
No. I'm just gonna say it, and if it's the same, we're just gonna discuss it. We're just gonna take turns explaining it.
Yeah. Okay.
Ready? Okay. My number 1, my 2018 album of the year.
Sure.
Coheed and Cambria, Vaxxus Act 1.
No.
Creatures.
What?
No?
No,
What?
I wasn't. No, I didn't even put that on my list.
Wow. Okay. That's fine then.
Do you want to know my number? I'm fucking with you, dude.
We'll get to yours.
No, I'm fucking with you.
No, fuck you, dude. You panicked. You made me panic.
I wasn't sarcastic enough.
You made me panic.
No, yeah, that was my album. Like, if you're basing it on quality and repeated listens, yeah, this was my number 1.
Is it actually your number 1 though?
Yeah, I still listen to this almost every day.
Okay, perfect.
Well,
Yeah,
like
same
I listen
here.
to something from this or sing something from this every day.
Right. Yeah, definitely. I cannot get Queen of the Dark out of my head no matter how hard I try.
Yeah, Queen of the Dark, or I've had Nighttime Walkers in my head a tiny bit lately.
Yep. I'm actually getting True Ugly stuck in my head a lot, despite the vitriol I had for that song.
I've been singing Love Protocol in my head a lot the last few days.
Perfect. So our
I've just been singing the whole album in my head. Fuck it.
Our official Sound Good podcast 2018 album of the year is Coheed and Cambria's Vaxxus Act 1, The Unheavenly Creatures. Came out October 5th on Roadrunner Records as a 2.5 LP, well 3 LP technically.
Yeah, it's 80 minutes long.
Yeah, nice 79 minute and 19 second long record. Mm-hmm. Easily the best release of 2018.
The kickoff to a pentology.
Oh my god, the kickoff to a pentology, the continuation of a concept after 3 years of dealing with a non-concept album. Coheed and Cambria just comes back and says, right. Yeah. And Coheed and Cambria just comes back and out of nowhere, and there's like, hey, pentology, fuck you, pentology,
hey,
one of the best, and we're gonna start it off.
What, like we've given you 4 albums of prequels, 3 albums of prequels, right? How many?
What?
Like after No World for Tomorrow, we had Black Rainbow, and then Afterman, so three prequels, right?
Yeah, 3 prequels. After 3 prequels and an unrelated, random non-concept album, we're gonna come back and we're gonna drop this 5 album plan on you, and then we're gonna
Yeah.
we're just gonna start off this pentology with one of the best fucking records we've ever made as a band.
Yeah. Yeah, I know that
we're
we
Coheed and Cambria.
I know that we totally destroyed the universe too, but yeah, no, we're still going to put out a great story that is somehow a continuation.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is that if you follow the lore, if you follow the concept of the band, of the albums in the band and all that stuff, you know that the universe was gone. The universe was basically done at the end of No World for Tomorrow. That's why he was making prequels.
Mm-hmm.
But he found a way to start it back up in the same universe. Don't know how exactly it fits in there, but it's definitely there.
I mean, I guess we're just saying that some of the planets survived after the fact. Because, I mean, I remembered that at the end of, in the comic for Second Stage for My Blade, like, a little mini galaxy was formed for, like, a brief period, right?
Oh, yeah. That's
so,
right.
Like, that totally could have happened.
Yeah, it was the 8 planets broke off.
Yeah, and, like, they did start to orbit a sun.
Yeah, it's supposed to be, like, the solar system creation story.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so
That's
I mean,
the whole point of it.
That could totally happen because the prison in this story is just formed from one of the destroyed worlds.
Planet.
Yeah,
of the Great Crash.
Yeah, I completely agree that this is they just come back and they're like, hey, by the way, here's just one of our best albums after kind of putting out one of our not best albums.
Yeah, and dude, it's such a strong album, dude. Like, I know when we talked about it, we bagged on it in a couple spots, specifically Lucky Stars.
Yeah, and I kind of wish it would have carried the torch. The Dark Sentencer is the perfect stage setter that they've the best one they've put out.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Is this album just starts off so strong with the Dark Sentencer? It's another 7-minute epic opening track. I just wish
all the songs carried the tone of that.
Well, that's the thing, though, is they carry a tone, and it's a tone that works very well for the album, in my opinion.
Yeah, like they kind of just go back to the poppy sound that they do have.
Yeah,
and
somewhat.
I wish that it would have been that kind of darker prog that Dark Sentencer was.
I don't think they go back too poppy. They do kind of change styles. I feel like this is their most stylistically different album.
I mean, Love Protocol and Pavilion, bruh.
That's fine, but you've got Toys and...
True.
The dark, or not the Dark Center. You get the Toys, the Dark Sentencer, and then you've got Queen of the Dark.
You're right.
Yeah, you've got Queen of the Dark and like Nighttime Walkers and all this stuff, and it's like they have poppy moments, but they definitely, I think, got a little more progressive on this album for sure. Especially I want to keep bringing the song up because I've mentioned it. I mentioned it in the full review. I'm going to mention it every time I bring it up. But Queen of the Dark is the most not Coheed song ever, and it sounds so fucking good.
Yeah.
And like it's so hard to be able to make a song that is not your sound and then make it sound good also.
And also make it sound like your sound.
Right, and then also make it your sound now.
Cuz you can hear it.
Like
there's no mistaking that it's Coheed, but at the same time you're like, "Oh, I've never heard them do this before."
Yeah, you're like, "Oh, wow, that's Coheed?"
Yeah. And I guess what I'm saying is I wish that, because like Dark Sentencer is like the 7-minute prog song that jams out, for a brief period, and it's like actually like kind of proper prog metal, and like Queen of the Dark and Black Sunday, they kind of go more into ambient territory because the whole album is proggy. I just wish that the Dark Sentencer kind of stood out as a different kind of prog.
Yeah.
I feel and that. I wish that there was more of it, because I kind of have a hunger for that, and I'm like, oh, they can write that? Oh no. If they did that more, that would be dangerous. That would push like Dream Theater, like pushing out of the way his favorite band almost. For me.
Yeah, I feel that.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, this album was completely solid from start to finish, except for Lucky Stars.
The album finished before that, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah. So yeah, the album is solid start to finish. Easily the best release of the year. There's just nothing. I felt nothing I listened to this year that could top it.
Yeah, I know that for a fact. If I look back on, hey, what did you listen to 2018? What came out? I'll just be like, oh, that was the year Unheavenly Creatures came out.
Right. And see, I'm kind of like in the same boat as you with Foxing as you are with Automata and BT Bam, where there's like, they're so close to like Coheed and Cambria and Foxing were like so close to being interchangeable as my top 1 and 2.
Yeah.
just like you said, BT Bam and Coheed was. But it's just this album just has that little bit extra something in it that makes it that much of a better listenable album.
I think
there's something about it. I can't put my finger on it entirely. I think it could just be potentially nostalgia for a Coheed concept.
I don't know. Like, I don't have nostalgia for that necessarily.
Right. Yeah. You
wouldn't.
To
you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it still hit my, like, I think that him taking a break the way that they did, I think that really helped him get his story straight. Definitely. And it gave him enough time to get a pentology organized. And if, like, this is part one of that and it's this strong, like.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, dude, 4 more albums, they have a lot to work off of with this.
That's going to be like the next, like 8 years of Coheed?
At least.
Probably.
8 to 10 years, dude.
Yeah.
I can't believe that.
It will probably be an album every 2 years. So.
God, we can only hope.
Yeah, I'm really proud of what they put together for this.
Yeah. Well, okay. Well, that wraps up our top 10 2018 album of the year little bonus episode. Yeah. For a bonus episode,
that was long.
Gonna be
don't
long
edit
as
it.
Fuck.
Don't bother editing it.
No, I'm not gonna edit it, dude. I'm telling you right now. And you will know if I edit it, because if I edit it, I'm gonna take this out.
Damn.
This episode is going to go up raw. I'm not editing it whatsoever. I might adjust levels in a couple spots because I do see I've peaked.
Yeah, I probably peaked a little bit too.
But it's fine. It's fine. So that was our 2018 list. Just do we want to do like a little recap? Just a little. We won't do that. We'll just put our list separately on like a post in a comment or
we can do it like that.
Somewhere in show notes, we'll link to the post or something like that. We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
So that is our Sound Good Podcast 2018 album of the year list.
I guess
album of the year.
Yeah, if you're listening to this, if you found your way here, what was your, like, do you agree with the list? Like, what was your favorite ones?
Maybe. We're gonna do that.
I'd be interested to know.
Yeah, let us know. Let us know wherever you hear this. Let us know in some comments on our Facebook page or tweet at us at what is our handle? It Sounds Good Pod.
Yep.
All right. Yeah. Tweet at us at It Sounds Good Pod. Find us on Facebook at Sounds Good Podcast. Comment. Tell us what you agree with. Tell us if we're stupid for putting an album somewhere, so we can tell you you're stupid for telling us we're stupid. Yeah, and it'll just be great. We'll have fun. We'll have a nice little friendly, unfriendly discourse.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that is our episode. Album of the year 2018, Coheed and Cambria, Vaxis Act 1.
Stay creamy.
Stay creamy.